Welcome to this week's edition of Military Trailblazer Office Hours. Thank you for taking time out of your Wednesday evening to spend it here in the spirit of community, mentorship, and learning. I'm your host, David Nava. I'm a lead solution engineer at Salesforce and a military trailblazer. Each week, we invite a co-host or co-host to take part in the conversation so we can leverage their experience, expertise, and unique perspectives. The focus for tonight's session is exploring marketing cloud roles and career paths. I'd like to welcome and briefly introduce our co-hosts for tonight's session, Collin, Trent, Nate, Brunk, and Chris Serger. Collin is a senior manager of solution engineering at Salesforce. He's been with Salesforce for nearly 10 years and is a marketing cloud subject matter expert. We're also joined by senior solution engineer Nate Brunk and senior director of marketing cloud solutions, Chris Serger. It is awesome to have you co-hosting Office Hours with me, Collin, Nate, and Chris. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. Again, my name is Collin Trent, part of the marketing cloud solution engineering team. I'm joined by Nate Brunk and Chris Serger, peers of mine, good folks that I'm very fortunate to work with. So we'll do a quick round of introductions. And first and foremost, thank you so much for having us and letting us join today. Know David for a little bit, and I've seen these sessions posted on LinkedIn, and I reached out and said, "Hey, have you chatted about Marketing Cloud at any point?" And he said, "No, we haven't talked about that yet." And so we're excited to be here. I have been with Salesforce and the Marketing Cloud for about 9.5 years. So I started with a company called ExactTarget, which is based out of Indianapolis, Indiana, which is where I live. And ExactTarget started off as an email service provider, or an ESP, as we say, some lingo there, and then moved into cross-channel communication. So text messaging, push notifications to mobile apps, got into social media management and publishing before being acquired by Salesforce in July of 2013. So majority of my time has been with Salesforce, but made my way to Salesforce by way of ExactTarget. And I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of great people within the Marketing Cloud. And two of those great people have kindly agreed to join me on the call today. So Nate, we'll turn it over to you for an introduction, and then we'll turn it over to you, Chris.
Cool. Hey, everybody. Nate Brunk here. I'm a senior solution engineer here at Salesforce. Actually joined the Salesforce economy back in 2017 as an account executive here at Marketing Cloud. So I had come from a previous life of being a manager at Apple and decided to get into software. So I learned about Marketing Cloud. I had no prior marketing experience, had no prior sort of enterprise sales experience. I was selling point of sale software at the time. But came into the organization, started to learn about Marketing Cloud, had a blast serving Marketing Cloud customers. We'll talk a little bit more about why I love marketing here in just a bit, but really enjoyed the software side of things. And by way of that, became a super nerd on all the cool things that our software can do. Started to pursue the path of certification. And one cert led to 2 certs, led to 5 certs, led to 6 certs this year. And so now I'm fully certified across the Marketing Cloud and have my administrator cert in CRM. Left Salesforce actually last year and worked for a solutions implementation firm. So I went and set up Marketing Cloud for people. But then realizing that the grass is always greener on the Salesforce side of things, Collin was kind enough to allow me to come back to the mothership and to re-engage with Salesforce as the mothership. So happy to make my way back here. I've now been back for just a little less than a year, but I don't plan on leaving for probably the next decade. So really enjoyed my time here at Salesforce. Love being part of this greater community of Salesforce people, both inside the company and outside of the company, and really excited to be able to learn a little bit about you all and really what's bringing you all to the table today. So thanks for having me. And Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. So, Collin, glad we're recording this. Nate just said he's staying for at least the next 10 years, which is really good. We have a lot of solutions engineers at this company, and Nate Brunk is like top 1% for sure. So, anyways, my name's Chris, and I am responsible for the teams that Collin and Nate are on here. And in 2004, I was working in a bank, and I had to send a blast email. And somebody said, you should call this company called ExactTarget. I think that's what they do. And so I started using this little thing called ExactTarget from these guys in Indianapolis, and that was 2004. And here we are 17 years later, and I'm still working with ExactTarget technology, which is, of course, what we call the Marketing Cloud now. So I've been at Salesforce since right after Salesforce bought ExactTarget in 2013. So I'm going on 8+ years now. And yeah, it's just been a great run. And you work with some really, really good people like these two guys. So happy to be here today.
Awesome. Thanks, Nate, and thanks, Chris, and obviously jump in at any point. And to everyone on the line, my understanding that these are typically pretty conversational type of calls, and we definitely welcome that. If there's anything in the chat, Nate or Chris, feel free to interrupt me. Just working in the hotel room on one screen today, so I have the slides up in front of me. But if anything does come up, please feel free to ask it in the moment. Don't have to hold back questions for the end. With that said,
and I'm back on. Oh. I'm back on, Collin. So more than happy to kind of navigate the flow of traffic as questions come in. And folks, just raise your hand, or you can post it in chat, and I'll be monitoring that. Additionally, as you've seen, keep your eyes posted to chat. I'll be posting links to great content in there throughout the session. And just excited to have you here. I'm going to remain camera off due to my low bandwidth, and I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Collin and Chris and Nate. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. All right. As I mentioned, we wanted to set the table here and talk a little bit about some marketing roles and some of the common ones that we see as we engage with customers and different digital marketers that we are fortunate enough to work with. And also think it's important to set the stage briefly on talking about what do marketers care about. So we're going to start there. And what we're looking at here is a snapshot from Salesforce's State of Marketing report. We're now in the 7th edition of that, which just came out this past summer, this past summer. And what we're seeing here on the left, top priorities, and on the right, the top challenges. And what you're probably noticing is that, hey, there's some things that appear on both lists, which is both funny and true. And that there's a lot of things that marketers care about and that they want to do that also prove to be challenging. Points number 2 and 3 are things that we're talking a lot about with our customers, engaging with their customers in real time, creating cohesive customer journeys across channels and devices, oftentimes in real time or near real time. Those things are very important, but also challenging because marketers are thinking about, do I have the most recent data? Is the data accurate for these types of communications? Are these customers opted into emails? Do we have their SMS number to be able to text them? Do they have our mobile device? Are they engaging with us on our website where we can have that real-time engagement? Those are things that are important, but are also challenging for marketers and things that we are hearing frequently as we're talking with our customers and prospective customers. Now, these are certainly not every priority and every challenge, but in our surveying of marketers, these are the common themes across the priorities and challenges. And so I think it's good for us to, just like I said, set the table and set the stage to help us inform then some of those common marketing roles and responsibilities that we are seeing on a regular basis. So let's talk about some of those roles that we're engaging with and we're seeing. And the first one, the email marketer. And so you may be saying, like, is email still a big deal? I get a lot of email in my inbox. Half of it I don't pay attention to. Well, based off of, this is from the 6th edition of the State of Marketing, but 64% of consumers, are preferring email when communicating with brands. So, almost 2/3 of the population, surveyed for this are preferring email. And for some context, sort of give you some scale or how important it still is, last year at this time in our holiday season, which is a big time for all marketers, Salesforce Marketing Cloud sent 129 billion emails over the holiday season of November to December. Like, that's a lot of emails in a 5 to 6 week period, which proves that email still is very important for marketers to engage with customers. And that's true whether it's a traditional, what we might say, a business to consumer type of business. So think of a retail brand, or even, what we often say, a B2B brand. So business selling to another business, email is still very important and very relevant to their business and engaging with their customers and prospective customers. So let's talk about, what does an email marketer do? What are some of the responsibilities? So building customer relationships, driving loyalty via email, conversion and sales. So it's one thing to become a subscriber, but when you're converting, purchasing based off something, clicking an email, landing on the website, purchasing, part of that responsibility to drive that engagement, and then drive growth. We think about the initiatives. So the customer lifecycle management. Oftentimes when we're talking about email marketing, we're talking about onboarding new subscribers, engaging them, welcoming them, telling them the story of the brand, moving them towards presenting them with content, with offers to move them towards some sort of purchase or service of a product, purchase of a product or service with the brand. And that's achieved through automation and personalization. So, Chris was telling that story of 2004, he's sending out emails. No one wants to be sitting behind a screen hitting, send after every email, right? We're thinking about automating emails to thousands, if not millions of customers and subscribers, and using data and context to personalize that experience to ensure that we're providing the right content, the right experience in the email, utilizing what we know about the individual in that moment. And then lastly here, compliance with things like GDPR, CCPA, and email best practices. So things like ensuring that, hey, are we emailing to a subscriber base that has in fact opted into our emails? Are we honoring their preferences by sending them the communications that they've opted in for, or are we spamming them? Obviously, that's not a good practice, and so that's why that's an important initiative for the email marketer. And the challenges that the email marketer has is subscriber fatigue, right? I mentioned that earlier, that a lot of us have a lot of emails in our inbox, and we may receive a lot of emails from the same brand. How does the marketer figure out, the email marketer, how do they figure out, like, what's the right amount of emails? How do I ensure that I'm cutting through the noise and that I'm sending enough content and not overwhelming them with my communications? Changing privacy regulations, the compliance with the GDPR and CCPA, those are relatively new things in the past couple of years. And I think that will continue to be a part of the landscape of marketing, is the oversight of data security, data privacy, and how that impacts the email marketer. And then new channels. Again, back to 2004 when Chris was emailing individuals, there weren't a lot of channels to compete with. But then came the smartphone, where it was easy to text customers. Mobile apps came on the scene. It was easy to, push notifications via an app to a customer. And then all of the new social channels where brands can engage. Those are all competitors to the inbox, which is a challenge for the email marketer. Then we look at success. We're looking at ROI from email campaigns, maintaining the subscriber base, growing the subscriber base, and deliverability and engagement, right? So ensuring that we're getting to the inbox in the first place, that we have all the appropriate tools set up to get to the inbox when we hit send, and then engagement, opens, clicks with those emails. Before I move on, Chris, Nate, would you add anything to this list?
The only thing that I would add, it's easy, I think, for people who aren't in marketing, when they hear this, that it's the only thing that the lens that they go into is like, oh, you're sending me offers from Home Depot because you want me to buy a ladder at Christmas or whatever it might be. But like what we do, what marketers are increasingly responsible for, is that overall what we just call the customer experience. So really, like I worked for years with Bank of America here. If you get a message from Bank of America as a customer, it's coming from Salesforce, whether that's because you qualify for a HELOC rate or because you got a low balance alert. So that whole just messaging technology, like more and more, that is the role of the marketer, because those systems that they put in place, they will handle all of that communication to the customer. So it's really changed from the days of just like, oh, let's send out coupons.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
I think last thing that I'd say too is, like, there's a lot of words on the screen. There's a lot of things that email marketers do here, right? But like, if I have to boil it down, the reason that I'm super passionate about marketing is because it's all about telling stories. So my background, I was a political science and English lit major in college. I have no background in computer science. I'm crazy to be up here with these people. Alas, marketers are all about really connecting a brand story with the experiences that you get to have as a customer. And more often than not, a lot of our job ends up being putting ourselves in the shoes of a customer and talking to the brand to provide them feedback on the experience they're creating. You know, if I was to talk to Home Depot the other day, I'd have a lot to tell them about the things that were great about their email marketing program that kept me buying things, maybe some things about their customer service too. Alas, it's really that ability to connect with the brands that we love and help them tell their stories better that make marketing so exciting and so fun. And if you put yourself in that sort of a mindset, things like ROI from campaigns and subscriber fatigue and things like that sort of fall to the wayside, and marketing becomes a lot more fun than just kind of the drilled in way that we think about what we chase as email marketers per se. So if you're kind of looking at this saying, is this really applicable to me? Is this something that I could be interested in? Think about yourself as a storyteller. Think about yourself as somebody who interacts with brands, and think about the way that you want to experience those brands. Those are the types of innovations and ideas that email marketers or marketers in general are just thinking about. So would add that in just tying off on Collin's great points here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Nate. And again, similar to the marketers' priorities and challenges, you know, this is certainly not an exhaustive list. And if we had an email marketer sitting next to us that was behind the keyboard managing an email program, they would certainly have a lot more things to add. But these are some of the high points that we're seeing with email marketers. All right. And then we move into the marketing analytics manager. So these folks are going to be looking at not just email marketing analytics, but a lot of the marketing analytics that are driven from a variety of campaigns happening across all kinds of digital channels and digital properties. So let's talk about some of the ways that they are measuring their marketing and the responsibilities first and foremost. So similar to the email marketer, they're looking at things like the impact on sales, being able to provide the business with adequate analytics. And so they're taking their analytics that are being driven by marketing and using that to present back to the business, because you think about marketing justifying the spend on certain campaigns, certain initiatives, certain things that marketing is doing to drive sales. Well, they need to be able to take those analytics and share that back with their business partners, with their leaders within their company, to help them justify things that they're working on and strategic initiatives to drive growth in the business with their marketing. And then that's going to lead into, you know, growing the business through the efficient use of budgets, right? So they're understanding, okay, so we're running these types of campaigns on these channels. We're seeing these types of engagements with X, Y, Z, whether that's email, social media advertising, other types of digital advertising, using that information to inform the budgetary dollars that are going into those campaigns. And that gets us into the initiatives, such as data integrity and transparency and performance to reduce waste, right? Again, you're thinking about being efficient with the dollars being spent on any given campaign. Being able to accurately and thoroughly analyze that information is going to help the marketer and the marketing analytics manager ensure that, hey, we're being as lean as possible with our dollars. Increase time and insights into reporting optimization. That's a whole lot of words into speed to understanding the impact of marketing performance. And then lastly, growth, holding every dollar accountable. Again, the marketer is going back to their business, asking for money to invest in certain campaigns, certain initiatives. Got to make sure that they can analyze and look at every campaign as best as possible and understand what is performing well, what do we invest more in from a marketing dollar standpoint, what is not performing well, what do we need to pull back on, and what channels are performing well and what channels aren't. The challenges, articulating the business ROI from in-market activity, waste of budgets and resources, and ensuring the effective use of data to drive marketing strategies. And then success, right? So engagement rates, so opens and clicks, not just on emails, but clicks in other digital properties, retention, brand awareness, and ROI from campaign performance, as well as efficiencies. So one of the things that we hear a lot in talking with marketing analytics managers and folks in that space is just the amount of time it takes them to gather data from different sources to understand how their campaigns are performing, right? You start thinking about web analytics and the email analytics that we just talked about, and any other type of advertising campaign that's existing out there, a lot of different data sources coming in that they have to spend time making sense of. And so the more efficient they can be with gathering that data and coordinating it to tell a story with their data, that's super important to them, is that speed of how quickly they can get to that, which is therefore going to inform their decisions on ongoing and future marketing campaigns. All right, any questions come in yet? Or Nate or Chris, anything else you'd like to add on this slide?
No questions in the chat or raised hands yet, but I'll keep you apprised.
All right.
The one thing that I'll add here, Collin, is I'm really old, and I can remember it used to be when there was a blip in the business, or if you lived through 2008, the recession and everything, marketing was like the first thing to go. The dawn of marketing analytics, and like what Collin has outlined here, is marketing is less and less seen as just a sunk cost on the business, because it can defend the investment. And so it's things like this, like what the marketing analyst does, that helps continue to drive investment in these efforts and these programs, even when times are tough, and really and truly, like, more so when times are tough.
Yeah, I would say even further to that, there was an interesting study. This is how much of a marketing nerd I am. I read marketing studies when I'm not working. But there was an interesting study out about CMOs tenure. So people who are at the top. And CMOs are the #1 sort of revolving door in the C-suite in most businesses. And the reason for that is that they become increasingly, it's become a necessity of their job to defend what they're doing with all that money, right? We have marketers out there that are managing, I was just speaking to one this week that's managing an $80 million marketing budget. And, his responsibility is to roll up to the CRO, right, the chief revenue officer, or the CEO or CFO, and say, look, this is everything that I've brought you. So those CMOs are really looking downstream these days to understand, do I have somebody on my team that can mine data? Do I have somebody that can make sense of the data and what my other teams are producing? And then do I have somebody who can directionally help us set where we should go with our marketing? Those people are valued very, very highly in marketing organizations these days. So when you're thinking about, what are some skills that might relate to a job like this? Learning SQL. It's something that I didn't know anything about before I got into the marketing world, but database management, relational database management techniques, SQL, to some extent R, or languages that help you explore data, are really useful to know in these types of roles. But these are extremely highly sought after roles right now. So if you're a data nerd, marketing analyst, definitely something to check out.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate. And thank you, Chris. All right. Our last marketer persona here we'll talk about is the demand gen marketer, or the oftentimes the B2B marketer, is often how you hear it referred to in job postings or just reading about marketers and marketing roles. Oftentimes you'll hear the demand gen or B2B marketer. So let's talk about how they're generating demand. And so responsibility wise, hitting lead generation goals. So marketers in that B2B space generating new leads that will hopefully transpire into sales opportunities and sales pursuits. That's a really important responsibility. Pipeline creation goals. So driving pipeline for the business through those leads that are generated is important, as well as the impact on ultimate revenue goals. So in a perfect world, you have what's called a marketing qualified lead, which turns into a sales qualified lead, which then, in a perfect world closes for a business. A sales opportunity closes, and that's looking at that marketing from the first touch to them converting to a sale to the business. And then we get into upsell and cross-selling those customers, and then optimizing across the marketing portfolio. Initiatives, creating and managing campaigns. So that is inclusive of email campaigns and other types of advertising campaigns, aligning across marketing, sales, and service KPIs, and being able to demonstrate marketing's influence on revenue, right? So I laid out that scenario of the marketing qualified lead all the way through, a sale to the business. The B2B demand gen marketer is demonstrating, okay, this is how we got here. This is how we influence the pipeline all the way to the sale. The challenges here, unifying sales, service, and marketing data, right? So, the initiative there, aligning marketing and sales service KPIs, but there's the challenge of unifying sales, service, and marketing data. That's a lot of data that exists, and unifying that and making sense of that can be a challenge for the B2B marketer. Driving pipeline and revenue and key accounts can be a challenge, as well as, showcasing that marketing impact on revenue, including ROI. So again, we see here specifically some of those initiatives and priorities are also some of the things that they're challenged with. Then we think about success, right? The percentage of pipeline that's sourced and influenced, being able to quantify how much of the leads, how much of the pipeline has been influenced by their direct efforts is a measure of success. Renewal rates, so businesses that have, other businesses that are renewing with them, that's a measure of success, as well as the pipeline velocity, how quickly marketing qualified leads are moving into sales qualified leads and then moving into sales opportunities. How quickly that's happening is another measure of success for the B2B demand gen marketer. All right, Chris or Nate, anything that you would add to this? And if not, it's okay. All right. All right, so that rounds us out with the few personas or roles we wanted to share. We'll stop the slide sharing soon, and I'll take that down and just come back to the cam so we can have a chat. But we did want to leave you all with a few resources as well. And if you want to take a quick screenshot of this, I'll leave this up for a few moments here as well. But the top thing we see here, I referenced our State of Marketing report a few times, which you can access via that URL. There's actually some fun things that we've incorporated with Tableau with our most recent edition of the State of Marketing report, which is available on our website that you can see and poke around and take a look at. We've linked to a couple Trailhead modules for these different personas that we just walked through. So some really good content on Trailhead to dive a little bit deeper into those different roles if you want to. We'll also have a couple of different external links that we thought would be good places to explore if you were interested in learning more about Marketing Cloud specifically. So Elliot Harper, he's one of our Marketing Cloud champions, has been in the Marketing Cloud world for many, many years. And he has a lot of great content. He now works for a partner company called Cloud Kettle, but he has a lot of great content that he's put out and a lot of great, even YouTube videos that are really helpful videos that even as, someone that's, been working here for a long time, sometimes I'll reference his content because he's just a great teacher and a lot of great content that he's put out there that's non-gated on YouTube that you can check out. A couple other links here. So the Salesforce Marketing Cloud Geeks and Salesforce Marketing Cloud Curated, both good sites to be able to look into different pieces of content from a variety of folks that work in and around the Salesforce Marketing Cloud space. All right, I'll leave that up for just one more second in case anyone wants to grab a screenshot.
Yeah, and this is an awesome resource, Collin. Really appreciate it, and Chris and Nate for bringing this into the session. For those folks that may not have had a chance to copy down the links or to really compare the slides, no worries. We are recording, and this will be posted to the brand new Military Trailblazer Office Hours YouTube channel, which you can subscribe to. Link is in the chat there, or you can just search for it. It's pretty easily available. Couple questions here. So first, I see some hands raised as well, which is awesome. First, we have Dennis's question, and Dennis asks, could you explain about the different marketing certs, and in parentheses, MC or Marketing Cloud Email Specialist, Marketing Cloud Consultant, Marketing Cloud Admin, in parentheses, and what kinds of job search they would support or lead to? Great question.
Yeah, that is a good question. And I have a thought, but Nate, I might turn to you just because, and I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit because of both working in the partner world, you've had a different perspective into some of the way that folks are using the tool and some of the ways that these certifications come to bear. So I'll ask you to jump in, and then I may jump in with some thoughts depending on what you share.
Yeah, so I think I might answer this by way of sharing my path for certification, so where I started and where I ended up. So in terms of Marketing Cloud, one of the foundational certifications would be MC Email Specialist. So that means that you know how to work with data inside of the platform, you know how to build emails, you can largely build things like automations, those sorts of things. And so it really gives you sort of the foundational knowledge that you typically need to be successful inside of Marketing Cloud. I would say my next certification that I followed that up with, because admin wasn't available at the time, was the Marketing Cloud Specialist certification, or consultant rather. So consultant is a deeper dive into email specialist. It takes into account more channels. So you have to know things about SMS. You have to know some things about Advertising Studio. You have to know some things about reporting inside of the tool. And so that one's a much deeper kind of, you're ready to become an implementation partner, generally speaking, after you've kind of passed that exam. One that I would have taken before that, if it were available, was the Marketing Cloud Admin Cert. So that became available in 2019, I believe, when I got it. And that one is a little bit more comprehensive on, do you know how to be an administrator of the various parts of Marketing Cloud? And to answer Adam's question, just at a high level, for those of you who aren't very familiar with Marketing Cloud, basically, it's a platform that allows us to do email marketing, SMS marketing, to do web personalization, to do advertising audience creation, and to do organic social posting and listening all in one platform. So literally any channel that you engage with a brand on will probably have some hand in it inside of Marketing Cloud. So the Marketing Cloud admin basically demonstrates your proficiency in being able to manage the administrative functions of those different pieces. So email cert, basis of data, admin, I know how to run Marketing Cloud. And then consultant is, I could probably get Marketing Cloud integrated with other solutions for you and talk to you about best strategy to make it work. One of my defunct, now no longer offered certifications is in Social Studio. So that organic social side of things, it's still a product that we very much have here at Salesforce. We've just not updated the cert. So they got rid of it. I don't know. I still count it. I passed the test. Alas, there's that one. And then developer is the last one for Marketing Cloud. This one was a stretch for me because, like I mentioned before, I am not a coder by nature. I'm a coder by learning and by grueling, just banging it out. Codecademy.com, big fan. If y'all want to pick up a language, they just had a 40% off sale. That's my plug for them. Alas, really all of the code that I know, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, even teaching myself SQL, I learned all through that platform. So I'm a completely self-taught coder, but that all helped me to pass the developer exam, because developer means that you have some familiarity with how our APIs work, appropriate routes for them, precursors to using the APIs, and even has some information about Marketing Cloud's native programming language called AmpScript in it. So you have to demonstrate proficiency on those. Of course, for everybody on the call, demonstrating proficiency on a Salesforce exam means getting that passing grade. So sometimes it's by the skin of your teeth. Alas, that's kind of what the progression of those certs look like. So email, admin, consultant, and then usually developer would follow that.
It's a great comparison, Nate. If you had to pick one that might be the most valuable or the best to get started with, which one of those would that be? Follow-up question from Dennis.
It's a tough question. I'd have to say I would still recommend Email Specialist as the base certification. I think it gives you the best familiarity with Marketing Cloud overall. But I would say that admin is a very highly sought after cert in terms of the number of LinkedIn requests I get from recruiters on a daily basis. They're really looking for Salesforce administrators and Salesforce developers.
Awesome. Very insightful. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just to add on to that one, just like to remind Nate that despite what those recruiters say, he's here for another 10 years. And also that, just kidding, Nate, that the Marketing Cloud Administrator role or the certification will also give you a good sense of the data model within Marketing Cloud, which is a really important component. So definitely recommend the MC Email Specialist cert as a level 1, get to understand that, core component of Marketing Cloud. And the admin search is going to give you a really good sense of the data model that informs broader part of Marketing Cloud and other applications within the suite of Marketing Cloud products.
Awesome. Great questions, Dennis, and appreciate the answers. I did miss Adam's question, and then I promise we'll go ahead and circle back to the raised hands from Amber, Bree, and Nick. Adam asks if you could provide, just at a high level, what the different products do: Marketing Cloud, Datorama, Ad Studio. I know you could probably talk an hour for each product at least, but if you had to provide just a cursory overview of each.
Yeah, I'll take a quick stab at that. And Chris, Nate, if you have anything else to add, jump in. So Marketing Cloud is now a bit of an umbrella that sits over a lot of products. So oftentimes when people hear Marketing Cloud, they think of some of the core features of emailing, multi-step campaigns that could be cross-channel or solely email. So we bucket those things in what we call messaging and journeys, which is a part of Marketing Cloud. So outbound email campaigns, SMS, MMS, push notifications. Ad Studio is providing our customers the ability to take their first-party data and go find audiences for advertising purposes on places like Facebook, Instagram, Google, LinkedIn. So first-party data matching, which has actually become really important as of recently, as you may have heard or read about, Google, getting rid of third-party cookies and first-party data becoming really, really important. So that's what Ad Studio does, is customers leveraging their first-party data in Marketing Cloud safely and securely passing it to those types of platforms. Datorama is our marketing analytics suite. So that's specifically what that tool is under the Marketing Cloud umbrella. So hopefully that was helpful. And that there are a couple other things under the Marketing Cloud umbrella, but I try to be brief about it. So
appreciate it, Collin. Thanks very much. Yeah. All right, we're going to go through the raised hands now. So Amber, you have the floor. Over to you.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perfect. Hey guys, so quick question. As I'm finishing up Miravis, right, and figuring out where to navigate and go after I get my cert, right, that initial cert, it seems like when you're talking about marketing, there's kind of two sides, right? That data analytics side, and then kind of that social side that I'm more familiar with. What are some of those soft skills that you think are valuable to bring? And two, as a new Salesforce administrator, somebody come into Salesforce, what are some of those pathways or some of those great roles to think about if somebody wants to go into marketing?
Yeah, great question. Chris, Nate, either of you want to jump in first?
I'll take a stab because I've been on both sides, and like Nate has. So actually, I guess I've been on all three sides, if that's even a thing, right? So I was a customer, I was a marketer that used this technology to communicate. Actually, I was doing B2B marketing with it, sending out emails, running campaigns, working with agencies to develop creative so that we could personalize and send that out. So that was on the client side, and that's like what Nate and Collin and I are responsible for doing, is selling our software to those customers that are going to use it. Obviously here now I'm on the technology side, and there are lots of us. There's a lot of marketing technology companies, like Salesforce being one of the biggies, but there are literally thousands of companies that build software for marketers in the marketing technology space. And so there are both roles within that company, like what we do, which is we have mastery of our software, and we show marketers why they would want to use it and how to use it, which is why Nate has such a, Nate could do this in production if he wanted to, but he really just shows people how to do it now. But we have people that deliver our services, that we're using our software on behalf of our customers. For example, like if any of you, and I'm sure you all do, you get some marketing from the Gap, any of their brands, Athleta, the Gap, Old Navy, etc. Our services team is doing all of that on behalf of the Gap, using our software to do that, for example. And then you have that middle space, which is our partner network. So you have customers we have partners that are either implementing our software because they've got technology, or they're serving as an agency or full service partner of those brands, and they're either buying directly from us the software, or they're just doing the work on behalf of the customer. So a lot of that comes down to like what part of the marketing world is really exciting to you. Do you love the software piece, and I want to I just want to use it all day, or I just want to get the benefits of what it does. And that's probably more like on the client side. Or if you sort of want that happy medium, our partner network, and there's bajillions of them, whether they're the big boys like PwC and Accenture, or, you know, some little shop somewhere that's got the word cloud in it, that's doing work for some, you know, niche body of customers that they work with. And all of those things, like we hire from all of those different places, and we also have people that work here that go on to work at our customers or go to work on their partners. So there's a lot of places to go. I think it's really important. Like, what do you think is most exciting? Do you want to work for the brand or want to work, you know, on the brand almost?
Yeah, Amber, I think you had inquired about, you know, soft skills and thinking about depending on where you might want to pursue based off what Chris was saying, right? Do you want to be, you know, on the company side where you're actually, you know, using it, or on a like a service side like we are, or a partner? But one of the things that it was in the priorities and challenges, that slide early on in the presentation, and something that I think, at least anecdotally, I've seen in engaging with customers and prospective customers is, you know, that the collaboration that can make or break how teams function. What we see a lot is a desire for marketing and marketers to be also communicating with IT people, who also need to be in communication with the customer service team, because they're thinking about the customer experience at that point. They're not thinking just about the email that's going out the door. They're thinking about, okay, like, what type of experience is our customer having with us if they buy something, or they buy a service or a product, but then have a customer service issue, right? Like, that's a whole customer experience. And at that point, like, someone needs to be thinking about, what is the customer experiencing with our brand at any given moment, and who owns that? And that's where the collaboration, which is very much a soft skill, right? Like, there's not like a test for collaboration. There's not like a way that you can look at it and score it, but it's super, super important. I mean, it's true in any team, but in terms of marketing, why it's important in marketing is because people that are doing it well are thinking about those different touch points that a person might have with the brand, and saying, hey, we need to be thoughtful about what happens here. Because if someone buys something from us, let's just fall back on a traditional retail example, because I think it's something easy for all of us to relate with, is that we buy a product, something happens, it delivers, it's busted, we're a little bit annoyed about it, and then we get an email that same day that's like, hey, buy some more jeans. And we're like, hey, we just got a crappy product in the mail, right? Like, there needs to be someone that's thinking about, or a team that's thinking about, hey, how do we manage that whole way, so that if someone does have a less than ideal experience with us, that then we can either pause the types of communications or experience they're having, or change our tone, which is an interesting thing to think about, is what is our tone across email marketing? I'll just use that as an example. Right? Like, we don't want to encourage someone to come back and buy something if they're having a less than stellar experience with us. And that might inform how we communicate. All that to say, like, those types of soft skills, I think, and from, again, anecdotally, what I've heard and seen with customers, is collaboration is a really, really important thing, not just across the marketing team, but across other parts of the business. And I think businesses that are doing that well are excelling in the whole customer experience, because they're thinking about not just marketing as a silo, and not just customer service as a thing over here, and the data that's needed to inform those, but really all of those things under a broader umbrella.
Really no, thank you. That's all great info. No, it's again, right. It's still all new, and still trying to figure out, you know, sure, what everything, you know, entails, and the route I want to go. So it's great getting the information right from the sources. So thank you guys.
Yeah, you bet.
Great question, Amber. Thanks very much. Bree, you are up next. You have the floor.
Awesome. And can everybody hear me okay?
Got you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And thank you so much for your time. My first question is actually a follow-up to what you were just sharing, Collin. So with these certification options and how you can, work for the product itself or for a brand. Are the certifications helpful regardless of where you go? The people that work with the brand, are they also certifying in it, or are they just familiar with it? Is it more of just an experience? This tech is just so fascinating to me, and I'm really excited to get a deeper dive into it. And I'm curious as to that.
Yeah. So I'll speak anecdotally and from some things that I've observed, and again, Chris and Nate, please jump in too. But what we often see is we'll have customers that they will, we have good relationships, and they'll say, hey, like we have a job rec. Can you share this within your network? Can you, share this within your broader marketing cloud community, other customers? You have employees that are looking to make a jump into something more on the customer side. And it's not uncommon, at least from my experience, to see things like maybe not a requirement, but a nice to have being email, marketing cloud email specialist certification, marketing cloud admin certification would be really nice to have, because as people are investing, and this isn't just true for marketing cloud, this is true for all of Salesforce, as customers are investing in Salesforce, when they can hire and bring people on board that have those types of certifications and familiarity with the applications that they're using, like that's just a huge win-win for everyone. So it's, I would definitely say there's a lot of value as you think about acquiring those certs in order to make it a marketable thing, in the job market for customers that are utilizing our tools.
Yeah,
it's also, we see tons of candidates when we're hiring specifically, like for Collin's team. And if we see that, it's proof that this is somebody, even if, like, say we weren't hiring a marketing cloud administrator, it's proof that this person has demonstrated that they can learn a technology platform that's pretty complex, let's be honest. So they're good indicators, for one. And then you're going to have customers like, I have Progressive Insurances near where I live, and they were a customer for years. They have people that are like, that is their job. They work at Progressive, and they work on our marketing cloud technology all day, every day. That's the whole job, because Progressive does everything through our system. So they're not going to not hire somebody who's not a marketing cloud administrator in that example, because that's the gig. So they're very valuable.
Yeah, I think last piece that I might just add for one more slightly different take is that, there's some really good discussion going on, especially in the chat. And thank you to those of you who've reached out on LinkedIn. Happy to connect with y'all, and happy to make myself available anytime I can to assist any of you. But with respect to your own brand, you are all marketers. You have to market yourself, right? You've got to put yourself out there. And one of the ways that you can make your billboard a little bit more enticing by way of something like LinkedIn is certifications. More often than not, I find that recruiters will sort in LinkedIn Premium people that have certifications, and they'll reach out to them first. So I would say probably about 70% of the volume of random, do you want to apply to this job? LinkedIn email messages will typically be related to seeing the certifications on my profile. So even as a means of just helping you in the job search type space as well, it's definitely an indicator to people that, like, I've taken the time, I've run the race, and here I am. So would just add that perspective as well.
Yeah, great call out, Nate. Thank you.
Yeah, those are all great points, and I would also kind of piggyback on that to say all aspects of the Salesforce, I guess, catalog of products are all interconnected, and so you'll find that the more you learn about it, the better. And even though I'm not intimately familiar with Marketing Cloud, I've taken the time to do some Trailhead modules, and even though that's not my area of expertise, I'll still get questions about Marketing Cloud. And because I've taken the time to learn about it, I can field those and kind of route those to the appropriate people. So yeah, always a good idea to plus up your knowledge in every aspect of the platform that you can. We have about 7 minutes left, and we've got Nick with a raised hand. And then if you do have questions you wanted to get in before the close of the session, I encourage you to type them in chat or raise your hand. Over to you, Nick.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it. And thank you, Collin, Nate, and Chris for being here. Yeah. I think you guys kind of just hit on it for the most part, but I'll try and word it in a way that makes it a little bit easy. Do you think it's better to come in with like a generalist mindset approach versus coming in with like, say you want to get into marketing cloud, for example, to like put all your eggs in the marketing cloud basket, so to speak, vice like going like sales service, marketing cloud certifications? If that makes sense at all?
Yeah, good. It's a good question. So I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer here. I think any knowledge, whether it's certifications or experience across a variety of Salesforce products, makes any of us more interesting and more dangerous in a good way in the marketplace. And the marketing cloud, since I've been here, right? Marketing cloud is a bit of an amalgamation of acquired products, but it's also one that we've constructed a lot of integrations between these products, between the core platform, so Sales Cloud and Service Cloud, to really make these things, hum for our customers. So when our customers are investing in multiple of these products, that they're all working together very well, even though they are these different products and some of them not existing on the core platform, right? So the Sales, the Service Cloud. And so, yeah, like certainly encourage you if you're interested in marketing to pursue those different, certifications if there's one or many that are interesting. And at the same time, I also think that for any of us that are interested, it's good to have a foundational knowledge of the other things happening, because we have so many customers that are utilizing multiple applications of Salesforce, that are utilizing sales and service and marketing and commerce in concert, and understanding how those different things work both individually and collectively is really important. I think that's my take on it. Nate, Chris, would you add anything to that?
Yeah, I would echo in second and third and fourth that I think learning the beauty of Salesforce is that we're a platform, right? And that platform works interconnectedly, varying degrees of interconnectedness, but very well when you know other parts of the platform. It helps me be a better solution engineer by way of knowing things about core, for instance. So knowing Sales Cloud makes me able to come up with really creative things in Marketing Cloud that I can do with creating a custom object or changing record types or something like that, right? That I might not necessarily know if I only knew Marketing Cloud. So that's why I pursued going and getting my admin cert this year, actually, because I use core so often. But Service Cloud's another perfect example. Marketing and sales, they align very closely together. But even more so these days, marketing and service, when customer attention, NPS is so important, like marketers and service people have to be able to speak the same language. So if you can tell me about case queues and how case assignment works and ways that I might want to notify somebody after a case is closed or exclude them from an advertising audience, something like that, there's a lot of interplay between the ways that our different clouds will all sort of talk to each other. So I would say you're only bolstering your knowledge and making yourself a more valuable asset to people who use other pieces of the Salesforce ecosystem by pursuing some of those clouds specifically. Highly, highly recommend specialization beyond just a single cloud for sure.
Yeah, and we haven't even scraped the surface today on, there's some more recent products that fall under the Marketing Cloud umbrella, our customer data platform or Salesforce CDP, loyalty management. Both products that are built on the core platform, but are, we're talking about it, from a marketing perspective. And so and just another good example of why a wide and deep knowledge of, not just one individual product, I think is really valuable, even from a Marketing Cloud perspective.
Great points, all. Thanks very much. We have just a couple minutes left. So Darren, the floor is yours if you've got a quick question to close us out.
It's really quick, and it's hitched to what you just covered. I love the big picture view, and I think it's helpful in going through Platform App Builder because I'm finding things in corners that are needed. Where can we go to see the domains and then the components of the cloud you're talking about Is there a big roadmap we can take a look at there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I can see. I don't necessarily have like a perfect answer for you, but it's certainly something I can see if there's like an org chart, right? But for the Salesforce application. So let me think on that. Unless Chris, Nate, if you guys know anything offhand, if not, we can figure out there's something, and I could pass it on to David, and we could get that to you. So appreciate the question, and I can certainly appreciate where it's coming from.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Collin. And yeah, happy to pass on any information that you happen to dig up after the session. Before we do close for this evening, I did want to thank our co-hosts for tonight's session, Collin, Nate, and Chris. Thanks very much for taking the time to educate us about Marketing Cloud. A lot of great questions from the audience. Thank you as well for making time to attend. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your Wednesday evening, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks, everybody. Really
Thanks
appreciate
so much,
it.
everyone. It's great to be here. Appreciate you having us.